Hello, everybody. I'm back with another installment. As you can see, I finished up the Metal Earth build that I talked about on my last video. And, this these things are very interesting. They're very small. Very small. And there's a lot of very fiddly little parts that you have to try to maneuver and bend and shape. That being said, these are very time consuming, and they can be very frustrating, especially if you have big hands like I do. And everything comes in these. This is what they come on. These are the parts trees right here, basically. And everything is flat. And you've got to try to make things not flat, I guess you could say. Now, I did the Enterprise first. And being as I've never ever done one of these Metal Earth projects before, this was a learning experience on this one. So yes, it's wobbly. It's it's rough. Let's put it that way. But I did finish it. The next one was the Abrams tank, which, being square mostly, had a lot of angled parts, which was a lot easier to do. The barrel, by the way, is it's a solid rod. They give you the barrel. You don't have to make the barrel, thank God. Believe it or not, the turret does turn. So yeah, the Abrams was a little bit easier, because as you can see, there's a lot of square parts and whatnot. So it was a little easier. There were a few things that I had to do. All the little wheels inside there, you had to form them and shape them and make them round, basically. Not too bad. Not too bad of a kit. And then the last one was the Arizona here. It was pretty neat. I enjoyed doing it. Is it perfect? By no means. But they give you these QR codes that you can scan with your phone, and you can see the completed model. In fact, they encourage you to look at the completed model to kind of get an idea how things go. And if you look closely, especially with the zoom, if you look closely at the completed model that they supply as far as a reference, it is by no means perfect. So even the folks that make these and sell these and design these, you can only do so good. But it was fun. I have to admit, yes, it was tedious, and yes, I got frustrated a few times and had to go back away from it for a while. But it's not horrible. It's not horrible at all. So yeah, these are the kits. I got them off of Amazon. Like I said, the most expensive one was the Enterprise, and it was $12. The other ones were roughly about $10. Like I said, the most expensive one I've seen is on their Iconics kits, and the most expensive one was, like, I think $30. But I mean, those are larger in size, and some of them are actually even painted. So these things are, I mean, they're, like I said, they're not bad. I mean, you know, yes, they're very tedious. And like I said, there are very small parts on some of these. Like the, yeah, I had to build all of that, all those layers on the superstructure, as well as the towers and the, you know, even the boats, the little lifeboats there, and the guns. Now the gun turrets and that crane's a pain in my ass. Sorry, I blurred it out. That darn thing. Yes, so like I said, it's a fold'em, you know, tab A into slot B type of deal. Some of the tabs you have to bend over, and some of them you have to twist. The ones that you twist are actually a lot more secure than the ones you have to bend over. And as easily as things bend on these, you'd be surprised how hard it is to bend some of those tiny little tabs. But again, it was interesting. I mean, I got a mass of different tools and different things, and you know, I was using drill bits, you know, pieces, you know, drill bits and anything, especially for the round parts. You know, I had a straight edge here. I used this straight edge for bending, you know, bending stuff. That worked out pretty good. I would suggest, yeah, I mean, if you're going to buy any kind of needle nose pliers to help you out, if this is something that you want to do, try to find tools, especially pliers, that don't have any teeth. They do make them. Tweezers are your friend. I've got different types of tweezers. You know, different types of tweezers here that I used. This is good for, like, if you're holding something. But again, you know, you got to be careful, because even these things have teeth on them. But, you know, drill bits. You get your regular drill bits out. Get you a cheap drill bit set with a whole bunch of different drill bits. And those are perfect for making stuff that needs to be made round. Yeah, I used that a lot. Working on stuff that's cone shaped, that's a whole different ball game there. You have to just kind of work with it, and you know. But like I said, as you can see, it is by no means perfect. I mean, and you know, you get it as best you can. I mean, from a distance, you can't tell if they're on display somewhere. Unless somebody gets right up on there, they're not going to tell. So, but yeah, if you're a perfectionist and you know, you can get this as good as you can. And I don't think you're going to do much better than, I mean, you know, like I said, I did a lot better this time with this one than I did with the Enterprise, because that was my first one, and I had figured some stuff out. Like I said, a learning experience. The tank was a little easier, like I said, because it's got more, you know, square angled parts. But the Arizona here was very challenging. It had a lot of tiny little fiddly parts. The guns are not round. They're flat. And you bend them up, and just like all the little tiny guns on the sides here, you bend them. But yes, I had to build those towers. I had to build all those decks leading up to the towers. You know, there was a lot of bending and folding, especially like the bulkheads and stuff there that go around the decks. Bending and folding and shaping and fitting and whatnot. And everything that you touch bends. So when you're trying to handle these things, as you're putting the parts on them, you're bending other parts. And that's part of the challenge. Things will bend a little bit. But again, it's metal, so you're only going to be able to bend things back and forth so many times before they break off. That's why this is missing a gun. Because I bent it a few too many times while I was handling stuff, and it finally broke off. So, there you go. But they are challenging. They're inexpensive. They're not, completely, beyond, but they are challenging. They are polished stainless, so if you don't like fingerprints, I suggest wearing rubber gloves, because you are going to get fingerprints all over this polished stainless. Yes, because you handle these things a lot. I would suggest, if you buy these kits, make sure you build them in the order and exactly how they tell you, because I started off in the Enterprise and didn't realize that there's things you have to put on before you start bending them into shape. Some things you have to attach before, while they're still flat, while they're still, right off the tree here. So, yes. I like to do, obviously, I don't just build plastic models. I like to do other things, and this is stuff that I've put on my channel. I do like to do other things. I like to be busy with my hands. Sometimes I do electronics kits, sometimes I do models, and I've been seeing these things and I've been curious, so I decided I'd get a few, and I'm not disappointed. As little as they are, and they are little. I mean, this is, you know what I mean? Standard pair of tweezers next to the Abrams tank. They are small. And, but it is doable. And even with my big monkey hands and whatnot, I was able to take care of it. I mean, you use the tweezers. They are your friend. Like I said, I use a straight edge for a lot of stuff. You get creative. You look for things that are roughly about the size, and especially things that you need to bend, or especially things that you have to make round, like wheels and nacelles and gun turrets, smokestacks, things of that nature. So, I recommend these things. If you're looking for a challenge, these things are very challenging. They're fairly detailed considering. But yeah, just the only thing I can say is just, patience and take your time. You are not going to hurry with these things. They will frustrate you. You will drop things. Like I said, there are some very tiny, tedious little parts on these things. And as you're handling them and bending them and shaping them and forming them, you're going to drop them. 1,000 times you're going to drop them. At least I did. So, I do plan on getting a few more kits. But, I'm pleased. These turned out pretty well, I think. As good as can be expected. Let's just put it that way. That tank turned out pretty good, man. Well, the Enterprise is not that bad. But you can see, I had to take it apart, and, because I put things together in the wrong order, because I, being a guy, I didn't follow the directions exactly, and I paid the price for it. But it's, it turned out all right. So that being said, I hope everybody's having a great day, and I shall talk to you again on my next installment. Bye.